All right, welcome back from lunch, everybody. Did we have a nice second world marketplace today? Yeah. I know, we usually do this at the end, but let's do like a mid-conference like applause for all of the chefs and the students and the volunteers. And actually, along with that, this is impromptu, but I'm gonna call out Chef Rebecca also, who's been helping us behind the stage. If she can come out, like, yeah. None of this happens with any of those people, so they all deserve it. So we are back here, and if you've been looking at your agenda or in the app and looking at the session, you'll see that I am not Jamila Robinson. Unfortunately, Jamila wasn't able to join us due to a family emergency, so I'm gonna be pinch hitting in here, jumping in here, asking questions. Chefs may or may not be prepared for those questions, but we'll see how it goes. We'll go with it. So this session is from Philadelphia and Miami to Portland. What does the future of dining look like? And we kind of had that first conversation and session around what does the future of dining look like yesterday, and this is kind of a continuation with some additional chef voices sharing their views and their culinary philosophies and how that sort of informs the future of dining. So to start, we've got Michael Beltran, who's the chef, owner, and partner of Ariete Hospitality Group out of Miami, where across a variety of concepts, he's bringing his Cuban American heritage and new American cuisine to life. So please help me welcome Michael Beltran.
How's everybody doing today? So I think that this subject matter is pretty broad. So I'm going to kind of rewind for the last 18 months, and I think the reason why the question is so important is because the industry has changed so much in the last 18 months, and we're going to continue to see change throughout the next 10 years, and all because of everything that we've lived through, why everyone was wearing a mask, why everyone was in quarantine, and how life has like drastically changed. What hasn't changed is how much people care about their job in this industry, and the one thing that they like specialize in. So this dish specifically came about during COVID. My team and I, it was a hard struggle. Everyone was struggling. There was only 25% capacity. We could only see people outside. And one thing that we wanted to do is we still wanted to showcase, what we do it for, which for us is fine dining. And we decided to do small, super fine dining dinners, 25 people each time, and we did it for 3 nights in a row, 2 nights in a row. The first time we only did it 1 night. And they would sell out within minutes. And the reason why we did that was to kind of put people back in that arena in which made them happy. Whether it was a server, a som, a cook, a chef, an owner, it doesn't really matter. We went through so much mental strain and so much emotional strain. I think that this was a good kind of release and an opportunity to kind of remind ourselves, like, if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, this is that light. So the dish I'm doing today is tamale en cazuela, but it's done our way. Everything we do at the restaurant is supposed to be I'd say, reinterpretation of a classic. So tamale en cazuela is a dish that my grandmother makes. Traditionally, it's just a corn porridge, and it's served with crispy pork, masita de puerco, which is just pork shoulder that's cooked through all the way, marinated in mojo, and then basically pan fried or deep fried or whatever. So it's incredibly delicious. Usually served with some kind of hot sauce. Usually restaurants only serve it 1 day a week because it's pretty labor intensive. So our dish, we start pretty traditionally, just with a regular base sofrito. What we don't do is we don't add any pork fat to it. Traditionally, you take the masitas, you add all the pork fat that you trimmed off of it, you put it at the bottom of the pan, you render all that out, and then you put in your sofrito, and then you start that as the base of cooking. So as this cooks, usually we would grate fresh corn, we would have dry corn, and then a little bit of dairy. Usually we use evaporated milk. My grandmother uses evaporated milk because it's delicious. So the big difference between us and my grandmother's recipe, other than the protein we use at the very end, is my grandmother would just use dried corn. In Florida, we have a great corn season, and corn is sweet and delicious. So we wanted to highlight that when we did this dinner. So we took fresh corn and we grated it on a hand grater. Make sure you got enough of the milk and you had like some of the pulp from the actual corn. So as this is cooking, you get some color, right? And then you add your corn. Mix all that together. You're going to add your dairy. So this is like every culture has kind of a version of polenta, corn porridge kind of situation. And this is the Cuban version. So I would say that the reason why this dish was so important to me is because when I was growing up, I was a pretty finicky eater. And I was kind of a pain for everyone in my family. And when my grandmother used to make this, along with a couple other dishes, this really just shut me up and made me extremely happy. So we add the dry corn just to give it some binder. Usually at the restaurant we do like 22 quarts of this at a time. So it takes, probably an hour over low heat to cook. So once you start seeing it get consistent, that porridgey consistency, which will take a little bit of time, you're going to add all your finishers. So what we do to elevate this dish is, the original dish is, our idea was sea urchin. And we took the whole shell and we cleaned the shell, took the top off, took the tongues out, we cleaned them, roasted them, and we used them as the plate for the actual dish. When you tell a Cuban that you're eating tamale en cazuela and you get this like spiny situation and you put this in front of them, some people weren't super comfortable, and that's totally okay. After a while, this dish ended up being on the actual menu and was probably one of our top 3 selling dishes for the time that it was on the menu. And for me, that's incredibly important because, talking about where food is going, especially in my city, I think food, the culture itself is starting to evolve, and people are starting to have a much more open mind, especially Cuban Americans, a much more open mind to try different food, try different interpretations, try different ways of like having a classic dish, which has always been a struggle, right? Cubans they like tamale en cazuela to be tamale en cazuela. They like camarón enchilado to be camarón enchilado, and we just don't do that. And the evolution of Miami as a food city is because people are now more willing, I think, to take that extra step and to try different things. So, at Ariete specifically, we make it a point that it's something that we're very proud of. We like to push the envelope with Cuban food, and we like to push the envelope, I think, with Miami cuisine, and we try to bring as many local ingredients as we can to the table, especially using from local farms and so on and so forth, and it's something that we're very proud of. So I'm a big fan of butter. My grandmother doesn't finish with butter, but it's okay. So we finish this with regular butter, and then on the pickup in the restaurant, we finish it with uni butter. Our uni butter is pretty much 60-40 butter that's room temperature, zest of lime, a little bit of lime juice, and tongues of uni pureed together. This is very delicious. This we've used for several things. We grill oysters with this. We grill stone crabs with this. We do king crab with that thing. It's a great tool to have. So just a little bit of butter. All right. Get that all the way in there. And I think to a lot of people, when you look at this, you'll be like, well, that kind of looks like polenta. Well, that kind of looks like this. And I always tell people all the time, like harina, which is kind of a version of this for Cubans, it's just Cuban polenta. They don't use much dairy in it. It's all water. But so once all that's incorporated, you get a nice hefty amount of uni butter. Add that in. sure it's all the way in there. Okay. You're going to season this to taste. Once it's fully incorporated, you're pretty much done. At this point, you're just going through a build, right? And you're just going to build your plate. So before I build the plate, some of the components here, they could change with the season. They could change where you're at, whatever's locally being grown. For us, obviously, we're here, so we got some seed beans and things that were provided for us. The one thing that's always with this is we do a pork fat espuma. So traditionally, the dish is just the corn porridge, crispy pork on top, and hot sauce or something that's pretty simple. Maybe some people put mojo or whatever it is. But the pork element, adding that fatty, kind of like delicious porky aspect, we usually use some kind of like smoked pork product, adds a different level of nuance to this dish. So that's why that's very important. So at the very, very end, before you plate this, turn off the fire. We'll chop up some uni, throw it in. So you have uni tongues chopped up into the actual porridge. You have uni butter in the porridge. And then when you finish the plate, you're just gonna add a little bit of uni tongue on top. So it's a very like decadent, rich situation. Okay. Thank you. This is done. A little bit of acid at the very end. Okay. All right. So the one thing I always say is like, don't be like bashful with this because it's delicious. So tamale en cazuela is like, and that's kind of the consistency you're looking for, right? You don't want it to be like creamy falling all over the bowl. You just want it to kind of like hold itself together. And usually when I say tamale, people usually think of like tamale en hoja, which is steamed in a very different situation. But this is the porridge version, which I personally enjoy more. So we'll do a couple tongues.
Chef, as you're putting that uni on top, I'm intrigued by where the inspiration for uni, incorporating uni into this dish came from for you.
Ooh. I mean, I don't know. I think that I've just eaten the dish so much that it made sense. The flavor combos and everything made sense to me. And again, it's as much as I love the original version, I wanted to introduce a different aspect to this. And I adore the original one. But this one, I think, really represented our restaurant, and I think kind of the evolution of the city a little bit more than just the OG version.
And is part of that about uni being a luxury item, or was
Sure.
it just a flavor profile or a textural thing for you?
I think both. I think that, you know, uni being a luxury item, Ariete evolved into more of a fine dining restaurant after time. It started a little bit more casual than what it is now. I think it just added to kind of like who we really are and how far we wanted to take our cuisine, you know? So on the top there, I added what I call a sofrito conserva. So it's just sofrito that we cook down and then we preserve in olive oil and a little bit of smoked paprika. Then we have charred onion top oil. And then healthy amount of the espuma. Okay. And then you finish with greens. And really the greens can be whatever you want them to be. It's not anything specific.
You said these are sea beans that
Yeah.
you'd gotten for here.
It's like sea lettuce, sea beans. Flowers. This dish, we like to make it as like visually decadent as possible, because people don't really expect it from when you say tamale en cazuela that it'll have flowers on it, micros and things of that nature. So
Do you go into further description of this dish on your menu at all, or is it literally just tamale en cazuela?
We keep
Cristina.
it pretty simple when we do menu descriptions. We have a phenomenal front of the house team that they really round this out, and they can explain this better to a guest. The dish at the beginning said tamale en cazuela, sea urchin, pork fat espuma, and I think sofrito. I think that's all it said. So this is the dish.
That's beautiful.
I think the way that we approach food, and I think the whole idea of this subject matter that we're talking about in this, I guess, seminar, is where is food going? Where were we before? I don't even remember where we were 2 years ago. I mean, so much has happened in 2 years. The world has changed so much. The economy has changed so much. Labor force has changed so much. The only thing that we can control is what we put on the plate. And I think what we can control is if the food matters to us, if the story behind the food matters to us, and what story you're trying to tell. And it's interesting being back in a school setting, because I haven't been in school in like a million years. So the one thing I tell the younger generation is, like, don't just cook to cook. Don't cook because you think it's cool. Don't cook because you saw it on TV and you think it's like a thing. Have a purpose behind your food. And I think the reason why stuff like this is so meaningful to me is because it's preserving a culture that has been lost for a very long time. It's helping a city evolve. It's being part of a community in a city that's wants to push the envelope and really wasn't known for that previously. So have a story to tell when it comes to food. Where were we before 2 years ago? I don't even remember. I couldn't tell you. Where are we now? We're still in a very tough spot. But if you believe in something, if you believe in your food, you believe in your purpose, you believe in what you're putting on a plate, it's not just a job. And that's really what I think Ariete stands for. I think that's what my mission is. And if I was to tell anyone that's ever considering getting into the industry, what is the actual purpose for you when it comes to food? Is it helping other people? Is it coaching people? Is it learning? Is it, there's so many things, So food is a passionate thing for me. Ariete, I would say in a lot of ways, saved my life. And I think the community in Miami is super strong, and I think that we see so many people doing so many great things that, just supporting each other and like purpose. Where are we going? Evolution is where we're going. And I think communities all around the country need to support each other, because I think that this thing we've been living for a while is not over, not for a while. So that's all I got.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jeff. So from Miami down south back over to the West Coast, our next presenter is Cathy Whims, who is the chef owner of Nostrana in Portland. Where she has been nominated 6 times for James Beard Award Best Chef Northwest. She has got Nostrana as well as a few other restaurants in the Portland area and known for her regional Italian cooking. So Cathy, please welcome Cathy Whims.
Okay, are you guys ready to make gnocchi, potato gnocchi? Because that's what we're gonna do today. So first I wanna show a video that my friend Zach Shapiro, it's only 90 seconds, made called The Story of a Potato. So at Nostrana, ever since we opened 16 years ago, we've been making potato gnocchi every Thursday. And this is a tradition that started in Rome, and there they call it giovedì gnocchi, or we call it Gnocchi Thursday in English. And gnocchi are a filling dish, a farinaceous dish, and they were made on Thursday because Friday was always a fast day, and that's when you ate, in the Catholic culture, and you ate fish, and you didn't eat any meat. And so gnocchi were something that preceded the fish that you eat on Friday. And today, I just got word, actually I saw it on Instagram, on Nostrana's Instagram, that for the first time in almost 2 years during COVID, giovedì gnocchi, or Gnocchi Thursday, came back at Nostrana today. And so, for many reasons, we haven't been able to make gnocchi. When the restaurant shut down, of course, we weren't making anything. When the state of Oregon allowed us to open back up, we only did to-go food for several months. And gnocchi doesn't travel very well. It's very, very delicate. And so there was no way that we felt the quality of the gnocchi would be the quality that people would eat when they sat down in the restaurant. And another reason that we haven't made gnocchi since we actually started dining again, and the first thing that we did, the end of the first summer of COVID, is we're kind of in a glorified strip mall. We're the anchor tenant on the corner of what used to be a 1950s grocery store in Portland, Oregon, a local grocery store chain. And fortunately, we have this huge parking lot. And our landlords and our other neighbors in the other businesses were generous enough to let us put up a huge tent, like a wedding-style covered tent, in the parking lot. And we turned that into our dining room for many, 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 many months during COVID. And so everything that we made in the restaurant and sent out to the diners in the tent, like, had to come, I don't know how, I mean, a really long way to get out to the tent. It was a lot of work, and it was exhausting, especially for the servers. It was hard to get the food to the table, still hot. Every day was another challenge, and it felt like every week during COVID, my team would have a meeting and decide, oh, well, we're going to completely change that because that's not working. So it seemed like every week, like we were just doing something, different to make dining at Nostrana like a possibility. But I feel like hopefully we're nearing the end of that, and I see light at the end of the tunnel that we had gnocchi for the first time today. The people that you saw in the video, that's our farmer, Patrick. He drives 5.5 hours once a week with these special delicious potatoes from Joseph, Oregon. Potatoes, 5.5 hours. Kind of crazy, right? And then some of our prep staff, you saw Norma and Griselda, who have been with us ever since Nostrana opened. And some of our servers were actually playing actors eating the gnocchi in the dining room. This was all made when the dining room was pre-COVID. So anyway, I hope you like the little video. So we're gonna make some gnocchi, and we are going to feature some Northwest ingredients that we brought down from Nostrana. So we have potatoes. This is a form of broccoli called spigarello. It's actually very famous, like outside of Naples. If you go in the countryside outside of Naples, you'll see in the fall you'll see fields and fields and fields of spigarello. This is one of our local cheesemakers, Briar Rose Cheese, and this is a sheep's milk feta that they make. And we also brought Oregon hazelnuts, a really big crop in Oregon. Hazelnuts are very important. And then these are these peppers that this year, for the first time, one of our farmers, his name is Charlie, and his farm is called Blue Truck Farm. And he drives this old school, like 1950s blue truck to deliver his produce. Like, it's really adorable. And these are called Sanise peppers, and they're from Calabria. And they're called Krusky in Calabria when they're dried, and they're delicious like fried. And we tried to do these with Jimmy Nardello peppers in years past, and it never worked. But when Charlie started growing these peppers, it worked out for us, and we were able to dry them, and then they get fried quickly in extra virgin olive oil, and they puff up, and then they're like a delicious snack that you can snack on. And in this case, we're going to garnish the gnocchi with it. So I'm going to start the gnocchi. So this is potatoes that have been boiled, peeled, these potatoes here, and put through a potato ricer. And ideally, they're still warm when you make the gnocchi. I'm going to add some flour. And the gnocchi that we make, sometimes gnocchi has egg in it, but I learned to make gnocchi from my mentor, Marcella Hazan, who I was extremely fortunate to study with in Italy. And so we don't add any egg to it because we think it makes for a lighter gnocchi. We'll start kneading the dough. The other thing about gnocchi is the less flour you can use and still have the gnocchi hold together when they're boiling in the water, the lighter the gnocchi will be. And a lot of gnocchi has egg in it, and the egg is a protein, and when the protein cooks, it coagulates, and it can make the gnocchi a little bit tougher. So we like to make it just with flour and potato. So I'm kneading it until it kind of comes together. I think the potato ricer is really important because it really makes a light, fluffy potato. You could use a food mill and run it through the food mill, but it works it a lot harder and makes the potato kind of gluey. Has anybody ever tried to make mashed potatoes by putting the potatoes in a food processor? Really bad idea. I did it once. So I never did it again, that's for sure. So once we get it together, we're going to roll out little logs. And if it starts to fall apart like you're seeing, you can just knead it a little bit more. Ideally, you're working when the potatoes are still hot, and these have cooled down a little bit, because I think it absorbs the flour better that way. There we go. And usually I keep this warm, covered with a towel. So to make the gnocchi, I flour a cutting board. I mean, what is that, a sheet pan? What is that? And I'm going to cut them. Into little nuggets here. So this is the gnocchi paddle. You can actually use a fork. A fork works really well. And when I teach gnocchi to my employees, I always tell them, pretend that you're shaking someone's hand, but you're with your left hand instead of your right hand. So you want to hold the paddle kind of perpendicular. So, and then take it between your forefinger and your thumb, and then you run it down the board. And so what happens is your forefinger leaves a little dimple in the dough, and the ridges of the paddle leave ridges, and those are going to help the gnocchi catch the sauce and hold on to the sauce. Like everyone's had like pasta at somebody's house. Let's say it was a sleepover, and you stayed at someone's house when you were a kid, and the parents made pasta for you, and spaghetti with tomato sauce, let's say. And you start eating the pasta, and all the sauce like slips off the pasta. So the texture and the quality of good quality pasta like grabs the sauce and holds on to it. So this is gnocchi that I made a little earlier. With the magic of TV here. So we're going to add that to the pot. You saw me salt the water. So you want to generously salt the water, like seawater, just like you would cook pasta. And they sink to the bottom and then they rise to the top. And so we have as a sauce here, we have a pesto that we made from the spigarello, the hazelnuts, Parmesan cheese, and extra virgin olive oil. And I'm going to thin it out with a little bit of the pasta water. I love the color of green. It's really pretty. So now our gnocchi are rising to the top. And a lot of people think that they're done when they rise to the top, but I always count to like 12, 15 seconds. So they actually really get good. You don't want the taste of raw flour in your gnocchi. And a good idea is when you're practicing making gnocchi is to have a little pan on the stove of water boiling so that the first, say, 3 gnocchi that you make, you can make sure they don't fall apart. Because if you haven't kneaded it enough, you saw it sort of crumbly and being a little weird when I had to go back and knead it. You can always go back and knead it. So you don't want to waste your whole batch and have them all fall apart in the water. So, going to plate these. We're going to garnish it with the briar rose cheese, the sheep's milk feta, some of the hazelnuts. These are toasted. And some of these Cinese peppers. And so there we have a version of Pacific Northwest gnocchi, potato gnocchi.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Chef, and congratulations on coming back to, say it again, gnocchi Jovidi? Jovidi gnocchi on a Thursday. We're here with gnocchi on Thursday. It's an actual day. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chef. So now from Portland, we are going to head over to Philadelphia, and our next chef is Christina Martinez. Cristina was born in Mexico and raised by Barbacoa masters, and came to Philadelphia and is now sharing her knowledge and her expertise of barbacoa with a Philadelphia clientele. Cristina is going to be joined by her translator, Jose, here, so please help me welcome Cristina and Jose.
Mi nombre es Christina Martinez y vengo de Filadelfia para compartirles un poquito de la historia. Vamos a desgranar estos maíces que son la representación de la comunidad en todo el mundo.
What Christina is going to be doing right now, she's just going to take apart the corn, and that's the representation of the community from around the world.
Estamos desgranando este maíz para ver que nuestra madre tierra nos da vida.
This is the representation of taking the corn apart, taking the life from the Mother Earth.
Y vamos a integrar todos los colores.
And then she's going to mix all the different kind of corn that we have.
Para que podamos mirar la hermosura
So that way we can appreciate the beauty of the corn.
La importancia de desgranar el maíz es para que podamos ver qué tan importantes somos como seres humanos, unos granos.
One of the important things of doing the corn this way is to appreciate and value how human beings are. Some are different color, different sizes.
Este es algo muy importante que los humanos en la actualidad están separando los maíces, los colores, los sabores.
This is something that we're doing now, that we're separating the corn, we're separating the flavor, and that's the representation of what we are living right now, that everything is being separated. But what she's doing, she's mixing all of the different kind of corn.
Pues tenemos unos colores tan bonitos y esta es la humanidad.
That's the beauty of the colorful corn, and that's the humankind.
Estamos tratando de separar los colores, separando como el racismo, pero tenemos que estar en unidad.
What she's saying is that we're trying to separate the colors, but this is something in representation of racism that we have to be united. That's why all the corn is mixed.
Ahora vamos a moler en nuestro metate.
Now she's going to use the metate, where she's going to grind the corn.
Para mí es un honor estar en este lugar.
For Cristina, this is an honor to be here. So she's very happy to be doing this.
Nuestros ancestros indígenas estaban moliendo el maíz.
Indigenous people, they grind. That's how they do the corn, the maíz. This is how they grind the corn.
Dame agua, por favor. Nuestras mujeres era un trabajo muy laborioso.
This is historically been done by women, and this is a very hard work to do, very labor intense.
Para hacer una tortilla,
Labor intense to make the tortillas, la masa.
miren qué bonitos colores, qué bonito el maíz, qué bien se siente hacer este trabajo.
What Christina is saying, that this is something that when you grind the corn, you see the beauty,
They smell
transform
so
into
very
masa.
good.
Feels very good, relaxing.
El mole representa que somos una masa en la industria restaurantera.
Grinding is the representation of being the masa from this industry, in the hospitality industry.
La masa de personas que trabajamos en la industria es la unidad del maíz, es la alimentación que nos da fuerza.
The masa that she's making represents the labor that unites all of us.
Es bien importante saber que todos los chefs y todos los que trabajamos en la industria, no olvidemos que solo somos un grano y que todos somos importantes.
This, what Christina is saying, is that this represents how we are all together, united, that we all represent the masa, and that we all the same. And that's for all of the chefs to support and represent the masa. That's what all of us are.
No olvidemos que tenemos una responsabilidad como industria, ser esa masa que se adhiere.
What Christina is saying is that we all are responsible of being united, that like the masa that she's mixing right now.
Ahorita vamos a hacer nuestra tortilla con esta masa.
She's gonna make the tortillas with this masa.
Estoy muy emocionada para poder compartir este trabajo tan indígena de nuestros ancestros.
What Christina is saying is that she's very excited to be able to share this type of masa, how they make the masa, the indigenous people, how they used to do it. So she's very excited and happy to show that here.
Como pueden mirar, es un proceso artesanal, no había máquinas, pero las mujeres eran fuertes y podían hacer este trabajo muy bien.
Like what you can see, this is very labor intense. There's no machine involved into this process, and it's a craft that used to be done by women. What she's saying is the women are very strong.
Yeah. Vamos a dejarlo aquí para que se repose un poquito en lo que hacemos los frijoles.
So she's going to let her rest for a little bit while she is going to prepare some frijoles negros, black beans.
Yes. Sí, vamos a hacer unos frijoles y unas tortillas. Ya sé. Pues ya tenemos nuestro plato de hoy, son frijolitos refritos con una tortilla hecha de masa.
Our dish today is going to be a taco with black beans, refried black beans that we previously cooked the beans today in the morning, and she's going to fry them right now. We're going to boil the beans with a little bit of epazote, and then she's going to fry the beans with garlic and onions.
Vamos a poner un poquito de aceite, pues ya tenemos cocinaditos nuestros frijoles. Los frijoles para nosotros en Mesoamérica tenemos que los frijoles son sostenibles para tiempos difíciles.
What we are going to have is the beans. What the beans are representing in Mesoamerica is that you can live and you can get all the protein and nutrients from the beans. And it's just beans, but it's what we're going to try today.
Estos frijoles nos recuerdan a nuestros campesinos que trabajan duro en el campo.
Those beans represent or remind us the farmer workers that work very hard every day.
Vamos a sazonarlos con un poquito de garlic.
Vamos a poner, we're going to put some garlic
Yeah.
in Spanish, and that's how we're going to start doing this dish.
The smell so very good.
That's why I got
Oh,
confused.
so- Huele muy rico. Ahora vamos a ponerle un poquito de cebolla.
She's going to fry a little bit of garlic, then she's going to put a little bit of onion, and the aromas are coming.
Hay que ponerle suficiente cebolla para que nuestros frijoles estén bien sazonados.
But Christina is saying that she likes to put enough onions so the beans are well seasoned.
Esta receta es muy importante porque nunca ha pasado de moda.
This recipe, what Christina is saying is that never goes away. It's very simple. It's a trend that never goes away.
Es sustentable, tiene muchos nutrientes.
It's sustainable. It has a lot of nutrients and proteins that you can take for your body.
Esto es lo mejor que puede comer cuando estás en el campo trabajando duro.
This is one of the best meals that you can have when you're working in the farm, because you get all of your energy out of the beans.
Pues la mayoría los conoce, pero este es muy delicioso. Vamos a ponerle un poquito de sal y vamos a dejar que se reduzca.
She's just going to be adding a little bit of salt, and she's just going to let it reduce.
Tradicionalmente en México se usa el barro.
It's a tradition that in Mexico we use this type of cazuela to cook beans,
Este le da un sabor único.
and it changes the flavor. It has a unique flavor when you cook in this type of cazuelas.
Vamos a dejar que se cocinen un poquito más y se reduzcan. Ahora vamos a cocinar nuestras rajas.
Now Cristina is going to start cooking rajas.
Tenemos manzano, cebollas en rajitas,
We have manzano pepper and we have onions, and we call them rajitas. That's why it's called rajas. The way that the onions are cut and the manzanos are cut.
vamos a ponerle aceite para que nuestro sartén y las rajas estén muy ricas.
We're going to add oil to the pan, so when she starts frying the peppers and the onions, they taste delicious.
Estos chiles son muy importantes en la industria de los mexicanos. Para los mexicanos y en muchas otras partes del mundo necesitamos este chile que nos da calor y también nos hace sudar. Y afortunadamente este chile también nos da fuerza para hacer una lucha para cambiar el sistema.
The chiles, the peppers, the manzano peppers in Mexico and any other chile in Mexico represents, and it's a part of the Mexican culture that we need to, in our body. We take nutrients out of the chiles, we take energy out of the chiles, and we start sweating when we eat the chiles, and that's something that we all need to take into our bodies. And this is the representation that we need, all of us, to eat so we can fight the system. We need the energy to be able to fight.
Vamos a dejar que se frían un poquito, vamos a ponerle sal,
She's going to fry the onions a little bit. She's going to add a little bit of salt.
el chile representa el fuego,
The chile is representing the fire as well.
para cambiar nuestros corazones, para ser gente fuerte, gente luchadora.
The fire represents, it's coming from the chile to be able to change people, to be good people, to have a good heart, and to be able to be a good fighter as well.
Yo soy mexicana, pero no como chile.
Cristina is Mexican, but she does not eat chile.
Preparo unas ricas salsas muy buenas, pero no como chile. Mira qué bonitos colores, se huele muy rico. Estoy muy feliz para compartir esta receta de mi pueblo, las rajas.
Cristina, very happy to also share this recipe from her hometown, rajas.
Vamos a ponerle un poquito de vinagre.
She's going to be adding a little bit of apple cider vinegar.
Esto lo pueden hacer en su casa con 2 chiles y un poco de cebolla y es muy sencillo.
This is an easy meal to cook at home. You only need 2 chiles, a little bit of onions, and that's it.
Se están reduciendo nuestros frijolitos para nuestro taco.
The beans are in low simmer so they can reduce and be a little bit thick for the taco.
¿Ya? Este taco representa a nuestra comunidad que está olvidada, a nuestra comunidad que no alcanza para alimentarse con carne, pero que tiene esto en la tierra.
This taco represents the community, and the community that is being left out, that is not able to afford meat to bring into their homes to be able to eat meat, but they have the beans and the rajas that is coming from the earth, and that this plate represents that community.
Vamos a ponerle un poquito de pasote a nuestros frijolitos para que agarren más sabor.
She's going to be adding epazote, which is an aromatic herb, and is going to be adding a nice flavor to the beans.
Si no tienen epazote, pueden usar el cilantro.
And if you don't have epazote, you can use cilantro.
Y nuestras rajas ya casi están listas.
And the rajas are almost ready.
¿Ya? Pues nuestros frijoles están agarrando sabor con el epazote verde, la cebollita, el ajo. Estamos casi listos.
We are almost ready to finish this plate. The beans are getting all the flavors from the epazote. Rajas are ready. Now Cristina is going to start doing the tortillas.
Vamos a usar un plastiquito para que no se nos peguen nuestras tortillas y vamos a usar la masa que hicimos hace ratito.
What Cristina is saying is that she's going to use a plastic bag to press the tortillas so they don't stick together.
Y vamos a moler esos grandes premios, esa grande fuerza, esa grande fortaleza que tenemos como industria para unirnos hoy en esta tarde con esta masa que
She's grinding and she's mixing the masa in representation of how this community should be united. She grind all of the different colors of corn, and now she's going to make tortillas with all that masa.
este te debe llevar. Esta es la parte más importante. Cómo nos integramos todos en una sola masa. Todos los chefs, todos los que trabajamos en la industria, tenemos un poder de unidad, de iniquidad.
This is very important to say. This is how we integrate all together, all of the chefs that we work in this industry. This is how we are united, by mixing all of the different colors, all of the different style of corn.
Como podemos mirar que nos integramos todos. Yep. Yeah. Ahora sí. Sí. Yo tengo mucho respeto para hacer esta masa, esta tortilla y compartirles que un taco lleva un proceso de nixtamalización, lleva un proceso de cocimiento, un proceso de molido para hacer una tortilla. Desafortunadamente ahora el sistema, pues tenemos que cambiarlo, podemos cambiarlo.
What Cristina is saying is that she respects the process of the tortilla, all of the process that represents, all of the process that takes to make a tortilla. And at the end, this is the product of how we are united and how we can be able to be united.
Este es un taco que ha emigrado por todo el mundo.
This is a taco that has been migrating from Mexico to everywhere in the world.
En Filadelfia estamos haciendo aproximadamente 2,400 tortillas una a una. Oh.
Where Cristina is coming from Philadelphia, she said that they make around 2,500 tortillas.
Estamos sirviendo
restaurant.
cada taco con una tortilla fresca.
Every taco that they serve is a fresh tortilla.
Esto es lo que es la vida, la tierra, el amor, la unidad, el calor, la iniquidad, la igualdad.
This taco represents life, equality, how we all are, or how we all have to be united in life. So it's fresh masa, a fresh tortilla, and that's the taco she's going to make.
Oh.
And those things happen, so you just have to start over.
I hate to be the person right now who says that we are over time, but we have maybe just 2 more minutes.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay,
We're almost ready. We have the tortillas. Just gonna put it in the plate.
yep. Ok, las tortillas están listas. Vamos a poner nuestros frijolitos con nuestro epazote.
Now she's assembling the taco. With the tortillas are ready, the beans, and the rajas.
Y este es nuestro taco.
And this is our taco now.
Thank you. I have no words, and again, I am so sorry to be the person to interrupt that. But thank you so much, Cristina, and I know you're going to be around also. So I feel like I just kind of want to go up to Cristina and just absorb all the wisdom from all of this, because we got so much from this, but I know that there's so much more. So another round of applause for all of our chefs and presenters in this.
Hi, I'm Andrew Hunter, chef for Kikkoman Sales USA. Today we're going to make beef and broccolini with a multicolored pepper sauce. The idea is to elevate the traditional Cantonese stir fry into something that's more suitable for a casual or fine casual restaurant in a plated dish format. We'll start by preparing our pepper sauce. Whisk together Kikkoman oyster sauce, soy sauce, and multicolored peppercorns that I've crushed. Now for the pepper butter. Mix together softened butter, garlic, green onions, jalapenos, and Fresno peppers with the crushed peppercorns and pepper sauce. Season to taste with salt. Now we'll prepare the tri-tip. Rub the tri-tip with a peanut sesame oil blend and coat it with smashed peppercorns. Heat a grill pan and grill the tri-tip for 3 to 4 minutes on all sides, 8 to 10 in total. Allow the meat to rest before slicing. Let's prepare our vegetables next. Heat a wok over high heat with enough oil to coat the bottom of the pan. Here I have a blend of 3 parts peanut oil and 1 part Kikkoman toasted sesame oil. When the oil is smoking, add the onions and mushrooms, shaking and stirring until they're soft and lightly charred. Add the broccolini and a drizzle of oil and stir fry until the broccolini is also lightly charred. Plate the broccolini. Add the pepper sauce to the pan and turn the heat to low. Add a chunk of pepper butter, stirring until the butter is just melted and the sauce is silky. Now we're ready to put our dish together. Arrange the sliced tri-tip on the plate at 6 o'clock and the stir-fried vegetables on the same plate at 12 o'clock. Spoon a generous amount of sauce over the top and enjoy. And here you have it, beef and broccolini with a multicolored pepper sauce. I hope you enjoy it.
We're here at Charleston, South Carolina at Rodney Scott's Barbecue, and I'm the pit master. It's really just the basics. It's really about time and temperature back here. I started off working in the kitchen for about 2 years. I always every time we get a break out front or something, I'll sneak back here and do what I can just to learn. I mean, by the time it was ready for me to come back here, I basically knew it already. Right here, our firebox. We have someone come in 5 o'clock every morning, start our fire. Once we get that hot enough, we'll take our shovel, just break everything apart. We use oak wood mainly. We just evenly shovel it under the food. Everything cooks at the same time, it's flipped at the same time, comes off at the same time. We have some ribs on this pit right now. I had these on for about 1.5 hours. I got our bones here. Once we see those start to rise, we know the ribs are ready to be mopped and flipped. We'll check for color first. Once the color is there, we'll take our sauce, mop the back side, flip them over, mop the front side. We have some hogs come in, some a little bigger, some smaller. I say they weigh about 150 to 175. I think they come down from, North Carolina. This is our hogs. Our hogs take about 12 to 15 hours to cook. Our shoulders here, see how tender it is? Just like that, we know it's done. We'll make sure we open every part of the hog up.
Is that for the seasoning to penetrate?
Yes, ma'am. Also the Rodney sauce. The way we sell it whole. So we want shoulders, belly, everything inside of it. So we want to make sure everything has the flavor, everything's there.
And is that the first time you'll be seasoning the hog, or did you season it already throughout the cooking process?
No, this is the first and only time.
So not even salt and pepper before? Nothing?
No. Just the hog.
Just
wrap.
love and fire?
Yes, ma'am. So the way we mop through it, we're gonna start on our legs first. Whichever corner we start off at, we wanna make sure we always go towards the middle. We don't wanna mop it, I say more than 4 times because it'll start picking up the seasoning.
How many gallons of the mop are you going through a day?
Through a day, I say about 6. We just shut the lid back down.
So how long now with the mop?
About half an hour. Once we let the Rodney sauce just boil in and let everything just soak in, what we'll do, we'll take it from off the pit, put it in this pan, and we'll pick the bones out, mix everything together, make sure they taste everything that's there.
How many hogs going through?
Yeah, I say a regular day, we'll go through about 2 of them. Slight chance, busy day, it'll be about 3, and if we know we have like a bunch of catering or a holiday coming up, we'll do 4 hogs.
Today, we're giving everyday egg salad extra depth and flavor with the addition of savory smoked ham. To start, I'll combine all of my salad ingredients. In a medium-sized mixing bowl, add the chopped hard-boiled eggs, cubed pieces of ham. I'm using Applewood smoked ham today. Fennel, celery, shallot, dill, chives, kosher salt, black pepper, and cayenne. Gently toss all of these ingredients together and set this aside as we make our dressing. In another medium mixing bowl, add lemon juice, Greek yogurt, mayonnaise, stone ground mustard, honey, garlic, and olive oil. Whisk all of these ingredients together and season to taste with salt and pepper. Now we'll put our salad together. Toss the salad ingredients with the vinaigrette and season to taste. To serve this, I'm layering some butter lettuce leaves on the bottom of the plate and placing some salad on top. Garnish with more chives and serve. So there you have it, our finished egg salad with savory smoked ham and fennel, tossed with stone ground mustard vinaigrette. Find this recipe and many more at ciaprochef.com/ham. The Culinary Institute of America at Copia, in collaboration with Butter of Europe, is pleased to bring you Baking and Pastry Excellence, a free online educational series featuring the best in world baking and pastry. Today, we'll visit the Michelin 3-star Atelier Cren in San Francisco. Pastry chef Juan Contreras shows us the secrets in making his hazelnut dragées, where creamy French butter is combined with rich cocoa powder. Chef Contreras explains his process.
My name is Juan Contreras. I'm the pastry chef at Atelier Cren in San Francisco. Today we made hazelnut dragées. We took caramelized sugar that we cooked basically to around 185 Celsius, let it set on a sill pad until it becomes hardened and brittle. We took our roasted hazelnuts from Oregon, a little bit of sea salt from the north of France, Tahitian vanilla beans. We took all that and put it into a food processor and grinded it up into a beautiful praline nut paste and finished it off with some butter. So I use Butter of Europe in this recipe. The fat content, it has a superior fat content on it. This is like an 85% fat content on this butter. It enhances the praline to a little bit more luxurious velvet mouthfeel. So the panning machine is a confectionery, chocolate piece of equipment used to make all your typical dragées, bonbons like M&M's, Skittles, anything that you might know in the commercial world, jelly beans. Turn on the machine, cooling down the drum. So the hazelnuts are in the panning machine, in the drum. We ladle very slowly some praline and allow it to crystallize on the nuts. Once that sets more or less, we ladle a little bit of chocolate on top to help stabilize the crystallization. And you kind of continue to do this process back and forth of hazelnut praline and chocolate until you achieve the results that you want. The amount of thickness and obviously most important, the flavor. We finish them off with a little bit of a caramelized white chocolate, gives it the kind of that golden hue. We were looking for a marbled stone-like type of characteristic. I always describe this this bite as like the French version of an M&M. For French people, hazelnuts is like the dominant nut, and I think in America it's like we love peanuts here, but it encapsulates that beautiful nuttiness of a beautifully roasted hazelnut, and I like to do a really dark, deep roast. It's just a very luxurious bite.
Watch more baking and pastry videos at ciaprochef.com/butter.
Hi, I'm Tony Roberts. I'm the pastry chef at the Ritz-Carlton, Chicago. Today we're celebrating the worlds of flavor with the perfect puree of Napa Valley. So we're going to start the day in Montreal for breakfast with black pepper ham and Emmental crepes with the perfect puree peach ginger blend and maple sauce. And then we're gonna follow up with the butter. I'm gonna switch to a whisk here. Just get the butter in and just whisk until the butter is melted in. And Emmental cheese and ham, we're gonna give it a fold, give it another fold. So we're just gonna pour this right over the top. And then to finish, some fresh black pepper and some chopped herbs. Today I have some chive, and there you go. A beautiful brunch or breakfast dish. Next up on our culinary journey, we're stopping in Mexico City for vegetarian cauliflower tacos with a peach ginger slaw. We are going to add our peach ginger blend. So here we have our coleslaw, everything's in. We have our peach ginger blend, it smells so good. Some white vinegar, fresh lime juice, and some toasted chopped pepitas. So we're just gonna take our plate here. I have our warm corn tortillas. I'm gonna do a little bit of the spicy mayo, a few crispy fried onions, and there you have it. Roasted cauliflower tacos with the peach ginger slaw. So we're finishing our day with some sweets in Sao Paulo. And go ahead and blend it smooth. So here we have our brigadeiro mixture. And then from here, just use a little ice cream scoop, or you can use a spoon or something else. And you're just going to make little balls, pop them out, and then in your hands, roll them nicely into a little ball. And here I have some yellow nonpareil sprinkles and some orange to celebrate the peach ginger colors. And we're just gonna take our little ball, roll it in here, cover it in the sprinkles. And then these just get placed in bonbon cups, ready for your guests. I've had so much fun on this culinary journey with the perfect puree of Napa Valley. We began our day in Montreal, where we made black pepper ham and Emmental crepes with a peach ginger sauce. Next up, we headed to Mexico City to prepare vegetarian roasted cauliflower tacos with a peach ginger slaw. Then we ended our day with sweets in Sao Paulo with peach ginger brigadeiros. Again, all of these recipes can be found at www.perfectpuree.com/WOF. While you're there, remember to check out our complimentary sample program and try all of the flavors for yourself. Enjoy!